At a glittering New York gala, under chandeliers that looked like golden crowns, a billionaire decided to turn cruelty into entertainment. His name, Damien Cross, a man whose reputation walked into the room long before he did. Sharp tuxedo, silver hair, and a smirk that promised trouble. But what Damien didn't know was that the waitress he mocked that night carried a secret. A secret that could turn humiliation into the most unforgettable moment of the evening. The ballroom shimmered with wealth. A live jazz band played in the corner. Guests in designer gowns laughed loudly, clinking glasses filled with champagne. Waiters and waitresses glided between them, silent shadows keeping the luxury alive. Among them was Janelle Carter, late 20s, poised, graceful, a young black woman with a quiet strength in her eyes. Her uniform was simple, black vest, crisp white shirt, polished shoes, but nothing could hide the dignity in her posture. She moved with the kind of precision that only discipline teaches. To most of the wealthy elite in that ballroom, she was invisible, but not to Damien. He struck his glass with a fork. Cling! The chatter died instantly. All eyes turned to him. The band softened to a low hum. And with that cruel smile, Damien announced, "Tonight, for your entertainment, I've brought the city's finest dancer, my champion." The crowd applauded. A tall man stepped forward, confident, sleek, ready to perform. Then Damien's gaze slid to Janelle. "If our charming waitress here can dance better than my champion, I'll marry her right here tonight. Deal?" The room exploded with laughter. Some gasped. Others chuckled cruelly. Eyes turned to Janelle, judging her, mocking her, as if she was nothing more than a prop in Damien's little game. She froze. The tray in her hands trembled slightly. Refuse, and they'd whisper about her cowardice. Accept and risk humiliation in front of the city's elite. But deep inside, something stirred. The memory of her grandmother's voice. "They'll try to make you small, baby, but your light ain't theirs to dim." Janelle set her tray down, straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, and in a voice that carried across the ballroom, she said, "You want to dance? Let's dance." The band started. Latin jazz filled the room. At first, her steps were small, careful, testing the rhythm, measuring the floor. The champion smirked, thinking this would be easy. But then, she moved. Precise, sharp, powerful. Her hips rolled with perfect control, her footwork clean and quick, every movement in flawless time with the music. The champion pushed harder, big spins, flashy steps. But Janelle countered with elegance and skill. Years ago, before life forced her into double shifts, Janelle had been a dancer, a competitor, and it showed. The crowd murmured. "She's trained. Where did she learn that?" "She's eating him alive out there." Phones lifted into the air. Live streams went online. "I will not be small for your amusement." The champion faltered. His breath grew heavy. His confidence cracked. And Janelle? She only grew stronger. By the time the music hit its peak, the crowd was on their feet, cheering, clapping, shouting. The waitress who was supposed to be humiliated had just owned the floor. Damien's smirk was gone. His eyes narrowed. The trap he had set for her had turned into a stage she owned completely. He stood raising a glass, pretending to be gracious. "Ladies and gentlemen, a toast to our surprise star, proof that talent can come from unexpected places." But the crowd wasn't fooled. "She didn't just match him," someone shouted. "She beat him." The cheers grew louder. Damien, forced to save face, made another declaration. "Very well, I will sponsor her into the National Latin Dance Tour. Full funding, wardrobe, coaching, everything." The ballroom gasped. To them, it sounded like a dream. But to Janelle, it wasn't that simple. She thought of her sister Maya waiting at home. Of rent, bills, the summer STEM program she had promised to pay for. This wasn't about Damien's generosity. This was about dignity. And so, with her voice calm but firm, she replied, "I appreciate the offer. But if you want to support me, let it be on my terms. I choose the path, not you." The room erupted once again, not with laughter, but with respect. Janelle Carter was no longer the waitress. She was the woman who stood her ground against power and refused to let anyone define her worth. 1 week later, The ballroom, the chandeliers, the glitter, they all felt like another planet. Back in Harlem, the sun poured through the small apartment Janelle shared with Maya. The sound of her sister's laughter mixed with the smell of gumbo simmering on the stove. On the fridge hung the registration form for Maya's summer STEM camp. Paid in full. Not by Damien, not by sponsorship, but by Janelle's hard work and a few new opportunities that had come her way after that night. Videos of her dance circled the internet, watched millions of times. But Janelle's favorite clip wasn't the spins or the dip or the cheers. It was a still frame, her chin lifted, her eyes unshaken, her shoulders squared. The exact moment she decided to step into the light. And once again, her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. They'll try to make you small, baby, but your light ain't theirs to dim. Because in the end, power isn't about the size of the room. It isn't about money or status or how many eyes are on you. Sometimes power is a choice. The choice to rise when someone tries to keep you down. The choice to claim your dignity, one step, one beat, one breath at a time.